So welcome everybody. Today I'm speaking with Julie Robinson. She's known as Canada's top angel intuitive, psychic medium, spiritual teacher. Julie's a fourth generation empathetic psychic medium. And since 2008, she's had a spiritual practice welcoming and helping thousands of seekers to receive her gifts. So Julie, welcome in. I can't wait to talk about the angelic realm, your authorship, your books, all of it.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Amelia.
Yeah, wonderful. So I was immediately curious about your lineage, you know, when we hear fourth generation, third generation, and I was curious what it was like to be the beneficiary of that lineage, or what it was like kind of growing up feeling this, whatever this is, in yourself.
Right. Well, I think from an early age, I always felt the presence of a higher power, what I call God, what some people call the universe. I felt this holy presence just always guiding me. And I felt what I know now to be angels, but I just assumed we all had that experience and we were all having that, including my parents. Like, my parents are really good people, but they didn't believe in God per se. And I kind of came into their world like, of course, God is real. Like, how do you not know God and the angels? Kind of like I was bringing this into their consciousness. And so that was neat. That was fun. We had lots of fights and no, but my mom taught me something really important. She said, listen, Julie, a person's relationship with their higher power is very personal. And it really is. And it's probably one of the most powerful lessons my mom ever taught me. And she also said, doesn't matter what you believe as long as you're a good person. So I really came from these teachers giving me insight and really trying to guide me, in the right way. And then I had this magical grandma on my dad's side who I called Nana. And she would people would give her dying plants and she would bring them to life. And she was very beautiful and wonderful, and people just loved her, and she was fun and funny. And going to her house at Christmas, it was all about the lights and a very playful fairy type of energy. And she was very intuitive, and she used to predict things, and she'd say this will happen, and it's like she would wave her wand with her hands and then things would happen in those places. I remember growing up and that happening. And then my great grandmother Vera, who was born on 444, she was a psychic. Everybody in the town used to call her and say, like, Vera, what do you get about this? And Vera, what do you get about that? And although she's one of my spirit guides now, I never knew her. I never met her. But it was only when I was working at our angels, I think that was 2008 or 2009. And my grandpa, her son, came to visit us from Montreal at that time here in Calgary. And I said, Grandpa, look where I work. I'm a medium, like, what, because my grandparents were always very open-minded people. Like, they used to read the National Enquirer and talk about celebrities. I'm like, angels will be no big deal. And I was right. He was very comfortable with it. And then he told me, he's like, well, my mom, your great grandmother, was a psychic. And I was like, why didn't anyone tell me that? Growing up, I just sort of would know things, and my mom would be very kind of shocked, and she would say, like, how do you know that? Like, who told you that? But I just was always left to wonder and having that need. And yeah, so that's a bit about me.
That's amazing, Julie. Thank you for sharing that. It's so interesting how we come to not just know our gifts, but be able to see it in that larger sense, being able to connect it, maybe even like, this is in my blood. This is in my energetic genetics. Like, this is something that I am carrying. And as you're carrying these gifts, so first, maybe you could just tell us what you do and how you do it.
Sure, if I can.
Yeah, that would be great.
So, like, I'll just get real specific. Like, if we're doing a session right now, I would have your angels bring up things that have happened to you recently. Mm-hmm. Right? And I do that. I ask them to do that. It's to validate that the angels are with you, but more importantly is to give you messages to help you grow and to heal. So they would bring up stuff about like your living areas, like your health, your life purpose is a big one, any kind of health or emotional challenges that you might have been going into lately. And then, of course, messages from the other side. Anyone's welcome to come through. I just sort of open the door and spirits appear, and then I start seeing faces, or you'll say, hey, you'll give somebody a name, and then I'll describe them to you. I mean, that's the best I can do to describe it. But the truth is, I have no idea how I do what I do. I just sit and it comes.
That's cool. So when you say you let everybody in, I'm
Yeah.
imagining though you don't let everybody in, like riffraff and
Well, yeah, that's true. I only let Elvis in on Thursdays.
right.
No, I mean, like, I walk in God's white light, and I'm very spiritually protected. Of course, like, when I started working with my mentor, this wonderful woman who taught me about angels, I immediately started working with Archangel Michael, the angel of protection. And it's also like your intention too. Like, I never really allowed any riffraff in when I was a kid. I was just like, no, please, next. Like, so I just ask for good things and they come, and we all have that ability.
I completely resonate with that, Julie. I think a lot of people assert a lot of protection, but it sounds like you're like, I'm just taking up my space with my light.
Yeah.
And then there's not even room for riffraff here.
That's it. Yes, you get me. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, people are just always so curious about, opening to other, and then how is it that we border boundary and do all the things? But it's really,
yeah. I like, I go, this is going to show my age, but Wayne Dyer, I was a big fan of him, and also a Taurus, wonderful. I love Tauruses, especially in the community, the spiritual community, because I feel like Tauruses just know stuff, right? And one of his wisdom pieces was always like, just believe you're the exception to the rule. And I just loved that. And I was like, yeah, I'm the exception. I'm not going to have any. I don't even think about entities or like, it's not even in my consciousness. I'm just assuming all is well. Everything is happening for my highest good, and only good can unfold from this situation. Is just my attitude.
yeah, what a great attitude. It leaves really no space for questions.
Right.
Yeah. So in your personal life, not with clients, but just with you kind of in the domain of your dreams, of your passions, of it, just waking up and doing you, how does the angelic kingdom come to you and work with you? Like, what's that like for you?
It's fun. The one sort of part of my gift that I'll sort of just tap into for a minute is the empath part. So I'll start with challenges that I face is I wake up in other people's energy quite often. So like whoever I'm seeing the next day, I tend to drop into their energy the night before at 6 p.m. It's not a will thing. It's not a protect yourself from that. It's God's will. Like it just happens. So I know I get up and I meditate and I ground, and then I start to ask for my angels to come in if I'm not already kind of chatting with them. And I'll ask them to do little things. I'll be like, hey, let's close down the root chakra and the sacral so I'm feeling too many things, right? Or I'll ask them to kind of moderate the energy if I have other things I need to do before I'm working. Like if I need to go swimming before my readings that day, I'll be like, hey, and then, there's always a funny day that happens to me every day where there's a synchronicity where I'll run into somebody like, this morning I was in the pool and I run into this lady who I keep giving angel messages to because her brother keeps popping up and she's always worried about money, this poor thing. And I'm always like, listen, your dad said it's going to be fine. And, my angels kind of have this habit of putting me in places that I need to be so I can be a blessing to others. So yeah, it's a daily thing. It's kind of funny.
That's amazing. And it sounds like you're a swimmer. So how long have you been swimming? Is the water important to you in your work?
I think so. I've been swimming since, I started taking lessons here in Calgary in I think 1988. And, one of the things I learned from Jeanette when I started working with her was being in the water. She said, when you're gifted, shield and clear, like every day, like that's your job. And so, I mean, I don't swim like I did when I was 20, but anymore, but, but I'm in that water. You know, it's really important to get that water in the crown chakra and clear this. It's one of the fastest ways to clear your aura.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It just that when you were just casually describing being at the pool, there was something that felt really important about it. So I was curious and wanted to ask. Um, I'm curious also about, so just as being in this conversation with you, I've never really known the angelic realm. I've worked with Michael for protection. That was kind of, the one that the angel that folks would always say, well, call Michael, work with Michael. This is a card. This is what he looks like. And so
Right.
I'm curious, do you have advice for people like me, other people who are listening, just about like what, maybe not even advice, but what are some of the qualities of the angelic realm? Like what how do you differentiate the angelic realm from other spirits? And like 101 introduction to the
Okay.
angels.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to start off is really basic, is that you have a guardian angel with you right now. And she loves you and she knows you. She's been assigned to you since your inception,
Like
right? Even,
me.
yes, like yes, you and everyone, but I'm
Okay, here we
speaking
go.
to you directly, and whoever's listening right now, this message is also for you, whether you watch it now or in 10 years from now. This is a universally appealing message. And your guardian angel sort of knows your record, your soul contract for this life, everything you're supposed to go through to heal and grow. And she works with your other guardian angel. Everybody has two.
Oh,
And their purpose is to protect you through everything you do. And that's sort of the basics. If you're not asking or giving them permission to intervene in your life, their job is just protect you, make sure you don't leave this planet before it's your time. But you can ask your angels for all kinds of things, practical things, big miracles. Like maybe there's a single mom in a convent right now who's praying for, please let me get my own place. Please let me help me raise my daughter. That actually happened to me, by the way. So I've been that person, and those miracles your angels can grant. But you're like, oh my God, she has a dark past. But but it's like, no, we all need to go through something to be something to somebody else. And I've had sort of like a different path, so I'm very candid about that. But people can also ask their guardian angels for practical things, like help me get through my day-to-day job, help me to write this paper, help me to forgive my mom. Everyday needs.
yeah. So, how do you know when you're connected to your angel?
Well, the first thing you'll notice is you'll shift like a shift of vibration around you. You'll get this, the mind is sort of redundant and long-winded, and I got to do this, and I need to lose 5 pounds so people will like me. It's this really weird voice that she sounds like Fran Dresser or something. I don't know who she is, but your angels don't. Those are not your angels. Like, oh, you need to eat less. Like, put down the chicken wing. Um, no, your angels are very like short, like you're beautiful, or it's okay, or call your mom, or apply for that job. Just all of a sudden, you get this like whisper. You get this beautiful feeling that accompanies that message. So you get that beautiful feeling is a feeling of bliss, it's a feeling of love, and it's just like all of a sudden. Now it comes in response to queries, the right questions. In the Celestine Prophecy, they talk about asking the right questions. I'm sure you've read that book, James Redfield. Everybody's read that book. And it's such a great one. Love that book. I read that at 14 and it just changed my life. I highly recommend it if you're just on the spiritual path. And, your angels were talking about, where did I go? I just leave. I just leave and I check out. And what were we talking about? I'm back.
Oh, you were talking about the right query. The right query.
Asking the right questions. Right. So if let's say I'm at the gym and I'm effectively listening to, and I have that intention to hear my angels, and I'm asking a question like, should I eat this cookie right now? Or am I going to get that job? Or should I go shopping tomorrow? And then I let that question go, I'm going to get an answer. And it may not come that second. It might come in 2 minutes. It might come when I'm on the treadmill. It might come when I'm in the pool. And it might come when I'm leaving. But I've asked the question and then I'm releasing it. It's like kind of part of working out the kinks between your higher self and ego. Do you do that? Do you ever ask your like your higher self? You're just like, is that right though? Am I on the right path? Do you ever do that?
I have my body is a barometer, so I'll
Mhm.
wait for the
Yes.
tingles. I like, my husband always says that I'm a Taurus, so I'm very stubborn. But when I know, I
No.
know. I know. Like when it is
Right.
time to do this, I know if this is not right for me, my body will tell me. So I'm like, that's kind of my feedback in that way.
That's the medium that your angels are using to get their messages through. It's called claircognizance. It's that clear knowing. You don't have any evidence, you don't have any proof, you just know. Yeah, and that's definitely another way, another medium the angels can use to get messages through you. So that's very good.
And so you said we have two guardian angels, and
Right.
you use the pronoun she. So I'm assuming they're not
Oh,
all
the
she.
Gen Z is like, what? You gave them a pronoun.
Well, I'm just curious, like,
Angels don't actually have gender, just to be clear.
oh,
They
okay.
have energy. So
Yeah,
when I'm using the word she, right, that's a feminine energy that's coming
uh-huh,
forward.
uh-huh. Oh,
Yeah,
so
so
that's
that's what this,
so cool.
that's the first characteristic that I got. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So, I mean, that just gives us as listeners another doorway through which to experience these divine entities, is kind of feeling that archetypal quality.
Yeah, it can happen. Absolutely with angels. Yes.
That's so neat. So, do you have any rituals that I mean, you're so talented in this work, but when you're working with new people or you're teaching people how to work with angels, are there any rituals or any types of little ceremonies that they like, perhaps they love to be thanked, or they love, an invocation in this certain way, or
Right.
what's the relationship tending like?
Well, yeah, you mentioning a very important word, relationship. And I always say, like, your relationship to yourself is the same relationship you're going to have with your angels. So if you're very loving towards yourself and you're open and you accept yourself, it's going to make it so much more easy for you to accept your guardian angels who are longing to come through for you.
Yeah, what a huge
Right.
gift you just gave us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important because nobody really gives us those sort of practical tips and advices, but like those are the ones that I need, right? Because I have a dense human ego like everybody. And always growing up, my angels were talking to me about love yourself, Julie, and listen to your needs and what are your needs and meet your own needs. And then when I met Jeanette, I was like, why is that so important? And and she just said, well, when you nurture yourself, it opens you up. And then I kind of figured out that I was having that kind of energy with other people, with my angels, once I started to love myself the right way. And it's the same with higher power, right? It's, do I accept myself? And I accept that there's this intelligence out there that loves me, that supports me, and I'm having a relationship. So that's so important because God and the angels want to help. There are blessings with our name on it. They want to help us. They want the best. If you look at the promises of God, you're meant to be happy, you're meant to be blessed, you're meant to be joyful, you're meant to be abundant. We have to get into agreement though with those principles. And so for me, in terms of rituals, I mean, like I ask and I receive, right? I'm always in conversation with and always in relationship to that higher power, whether it be God or the angels or my grandmother. And I recently, put on some online classes, angel classes on my website. And the one thing I want to give away right now is just ground. Like visualize a grounding cord coming down your root chakra and just grounding you down. And ask the angels to help you, because there's somebody listening right now that's like not wanting to be here. They're just like, I don't even want to be on earth. So just like let yourself be in resistance. If you're in resistance, it's okay. Life can be hard, and nobody ever said it would be easy, but God did say we would have angels and we would have help. So it's okay that you're struggling right now, and just let yourself be where you are without judgment, and just ask the angels, please ground me. There we go. There, now they're grounded. And it's just really intention. Yeah, it's just in the spiritual world, we can ask for anything. It's unlimited, unlike the physical world. That's kind of nice.
Yeah. So when you are working one-on-one with an individual, what's it like? What's that relationship like for you? What is does it get really crowded? Do you have to say, is everybody talking at once? Do you see them, the angels, with your eyes? So all the questions.
So, I mean, the first thing that I'm thinking about is this regular client that I have, and now she starts the session laughing already with me. So there's a lot of comedy. I used to, help support people, and so she's already laughing because she goes, oh, let me guess, you were feeling this or you're feeling that. Because my first way I start off every reading is with empath notes. And I'll go, hey, did you wake up early? Did you have a shower at this time? And then they start to kind of get freaked out if it's their first reading with me. So I start with all the empath notes because I've been in their energy for almost 12 hours, right? So I'm like this actress taking notes and studying. I'm like, they're paranoid about this, or they need to forgive their mom. And so the first 10 to 20 minutes is like I'm dumping and I'm going, so how do you connect to this? Is it true you went to the doctor yesterday? And I'm bringing up all these empath notes. And then as I'm doing that, the angels are just coming through. Because empath notes can sometimes feel a little bit like the areas you need to work on. And then I'm always adding angel insights into that. I'm going, so I know you're struggling right now with depression, and your angels are going, here's the message, like that kind of thing. So it's like a healing in that way.
Yeah.
And then once I'm able to let that go, then I start channeling questions that you might have asked, but you haven't told me. So I'll be like, so is it true that you wanted to hear from so-and-so? Well, this person is here. Or is it true you were wondering if you should start this program in college? And you won't have to ask me anything. You don't need to tell me anything. Just your name and your birthday is all I need. And then it just starts to come through. And then it's just like a flow from there.
And so if people come to you with very specific questions, is there a place, like a form they fill out ahead of time? Or do you already just know?
I tell people, ask your angels. Don't tell me your questions. Write them down. Talk to your angels before the session. Don't tell me. And let's see if your angels bring it up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a great way of working.
I like to do that. It's fun.
That's lovely. And what do you think, or maybe what do you hear from your clients when they receive this enormous conversation, past, present, future,
I mean, the first thing I always hear is, oh, wow, I feel so validated. New clients with anxiety start off with their anxiety here at the top of the session. And by the end of the 20 minutes, it's down to here, because I've just said, oh, I know you're struggling with your husband. I know your child has diabetes and you're worried about that. And that alone starts to make them feel like who they are matters, what they have to say matters, and what they're going through matters. And more importantly, it's connecting them with their angels, because how do I know? How do I know that their daughter has diabetes? Well, because their angels are telling me. So then it starts to become less about me and more about the angels, that their angels are with them, right? Because it's their angels that are telling on them, not like I'm sitting around like intentionally reading people. No, I don't really do that much work. I just listen.
That's lovely. Thanks for sharing that, because it's such a cool window into the different ways that it's possible to have these conversations. And I know also you've got 4 books. You've also got a tarot deck, or maybe not a tarot deck, an angel deck. I think
Yeah.
I saw it in your hand, maybe. I don't know. I saw something in your hand, and I was like,
I did.
that?
You know, I don't always have to pull a card, but I was like talking, sometimes just touching a card, because I have the gift of psychometry.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes for me, just touching something, like just putting my hands like this, I'll just let you see. And I just get like an energy, you know, like, oh, your mother's here. Like, you know, as an example, like that's,
Yeah. Well, do you
yeah,
think you could do like a card pull for our community?
absolutely. So I'm just going to shuffle right now, just tuning into a universally appealing message, like something everybody needs to know right now. And I'm just going to tune into my deck, the Spiritual Principle Angel Oracle cards. These are based on the angels' spiritual principles that are in my books. And we just sort of divided them into angel messages, and there's a lot of energy coming in here about forgiveness. And the biggest one is yourself. Like, you can't stay mad at yourself and get to where you want to go.
Oh, that's a great message.
Yeah, like you have to surrender. That's an important message. The angels are around you, and you need to actually stop and tune in. And you're overthinking it is the message. You're overthinking. Just respond to, you know, the lighter energy, because there's a tendency to stay in that analytical energy. It's listen and then just trust that message. So, but I do want to pull a card. So the card I pulled is consecration, which I know it sounds like a very heavy Catholic word, and I did pull this from my upbringing in the Catholic Church. But consecration is, I said, like, okay, well, how do you mean it, angels? And they said this is about opening up and preparing yourself, your energy, to be connected more with your soulmate.
Hmm.
So you might even be married to your soulmate right now. You might even be in a relationship, or you might be single. But there's like this heaviness that needs to let go. So this is something that we've been holding on to for a while, something that was complicated. And we're also making it extraordinarily complicated by overthinking it. So this card is coming up saying, like, let the old go, let the past go, and your needs are going to be met. So there's somebody worried, like, are my needs going to be met? Your needs are going to be met. Your angels are communicating with your soulmate, and your soulmate is growing at their own rate. It doesn't have to be in your way, in your time. Trust that that's already happening.
Great message. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what was the role of your angels when you were creating that deck? Like, did they tap you and say it's got to be done, or we're speaking to you through these, or what was your process of creating these?
This is funniest story. So when I was writing this book, my first book, Everyday Angel Miracles, you know, it's divided into chapters, chakras, and its corresponding spiritual principles, right? And I had a friend, he was a university professor, and I would, you know, consult with him. And he had said to me, you know, there's an oracle card deck with this book. And I went, yeah, like later.
Yeah.
I also have planets in Taurus, by the way, so I can also be stubborn. I was like, I just want to write this book. I just want this book, you know, to be famous. Cards are later, right? And then I met this Mickey Oceans, the artist for my deck. She came to Canada from Japan, and she had a reading with me. She had seen me on Facebook, and I like met her at this hotel, and it was really hard for me to get there. And so I'm meeting her and I'm reading her, and my angels are like, this is the artist of your oracle card deck. And that was not on my radar at this time. And I was like, oh, she doesn't even do oracle decks. We had never met before. But when she came back to Japan and we started talking after the reading, I said, listen, this is going to sound crazy, but this is the message I'm getting. And she said, well, just, can you give me some idea of what you're looking for? This is her famous last words. Anytime she would say there, I would, and then my angels would just come in and they would say, you're going to have 5 cards for romance. Here they are. And then I would send her the idea and then she would do them.
Oh, wow.
She would do them and I'd go, oh, wow, there they are. Yeah. And then my angels would, and then she'd go, well, what about this? And I'd go, well, there's also, right, because there's a whole chapter on the throat chakra. So there's 5 cards for the throat chakra. And then my angels would give me, it's like faith, speaking your truth with love, whatever those cards were. And then I would say this, and then she would do them. And we have like all the angels in there, like Michael and Raphael, Jophiel, Ariel. And I was like, these are the angels that we need for these corresponding principles. And then she would do them. So that sort of happened organically that way.
Oh, that is so wonderful, because the energy of that exchange was like one long conversation.
Yeah, that lasted like almost 2 years.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, because that I think is what is impressing me the most, like, just an impression is how the conversation unfolds between you and your angels, the angels of your clients, the angels that come through. I mean, it's all a beautiful conversation that we open to. And and I was just struck, I suppose that's just really obvious. They have to communicate with us in some way, but it just feels so ongoing, and it feels like such a long relationship. So that makes me curious about, you said each of us has 2 kind of guardian angels, and for each incarnation, like, is it the soul that has those 2 angels, and in each incarnation those angels also will be with you, in each incarnation, because we're sharing soul? Or do they shift?
No, it's each incarnation you get new guardian angels, because it's a new purpose, it's a new soul contract. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh my God, is that not cool, or what?
It's cool.
It's so cool, because and maybe do you do kind of seed also information from past lives? So that means you can go and talk to the guardian angels of that lifetime to help bring forward information for you.
So I don't really talk to guardian angels that much when I'm doing a reading. I actually talk to the archangels, which are like the managers. They're like the overseers of people's guardian angels, who are in constant communication with your guardian angels. So we'll be talking, and like you'll be like, oh, I have this health issue. And I'll be like, and if it is connected to a past life, all of a sudden they'll show me like a movie screen of that, the trauma or whatever that was that happened to you in a past life. And they'll just download that to me right at the time when we're discussing your health issue. And it will come with a heading, like big flashing lights, like past life issue. And I'm like, I'm getting that's in your past life. This is rooted from, so we need to go back there and do like a clearing with the Archangel Raziel, who does a lot of healing work and can help with like, vows, clearing vows, canceling contracts, so now I'm getting into some pretty heavy angel work, but if we need it, they can help us with it.
Well, I think that's super interesting. I love hearing about the process of the hierarchy and how you're able to extend that conversation, a very personal one, with this really large team that's come present to be with you. And I'm going to ask it this way. It's probably the wrong way to ask it, but who
There's
are
no such thing.
Top 5 angels?
My top 5 favorite angels?
Yeah, that come in often, or like the ones that really that come in very frequently in your practice.
Well, Michael for sure. My daughter is also my angel, and I live with her. So she's definitely my top 5. I have to say that. Raphael, her name is Sarah. Raphael. I also have a daughter on the other side that I communicate with. Jophiel, Gabriel. Gabriel and I have a history, and Gabriel is so great because I know you're also a writer and communicator. Like if you ever need, like when I was going to write my books, I'd be like, Gabriel, give me the time, give me the motivation, give me the ideas, give me the energy. And then boy, Gabriel had me up at like 4 a.m, like, let's roll, let's write.
Oh,
And then I would like actually feel like it for like a window. My daughter was growing up, like before, I have to get her on the bus to school. We would write at 4 a.m. channeling. Yeah.
that's
So
amazing.
yeah, so Gabriel, and I work a lot with Metatron. Metatron helps a lot of us Earth angels to acclimate to mainstream energy because it's very hard for us as light workers to like physically be here on Earth and like clear my energy. So Metatron, Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, and Archangel Uriel is actually a big one. Uriel is the angel of brilliant ideas. So angels have like functions that they can help us with. And so Uriel and I work really side by side quite a lot with just ideas. People come to me with problems and then I kind of tune in. I'm like, let's go. What's the solution, Uriel? And then he hands it to me. And I'm like, here you go.
Oh, that's lovely. And what about Raphael? You mentioned Raphael.
Oh, Raphael's hilarious. Raphael's the angel of healing. He's really, really important for all of you to know. So Raphael helps us with health and healing. So if you have an illness or an injury right now, or you're struggling and or you even have a health goal, you can invite in Raphael for his healing help. If you have a friend or a loved one who's ailing in the hospital, you can send Raphael to help this person. Or you can also visualize his emerald green healing light around your friend in the hospital or around your loved one or your pet or your plants. Because anytime you invoke that light, you bring in the angel's energy.
Amazing. So this is so interesting because in the same way you were sort of hearing everyone in the call, I just heard a question. It was like somebody in the back raised their hand and went, who's the angel of abundance, of money?
Okay.
Like, it was so cute.
Yes. So Archangel Ariel has us ask her. This is interesting because abundance is a natural state of being.
Yeah.
But what happens is we sort of get disconnected from that. So when I talk about abundance and when I've written about abundance, Ariel always shows up. And like, I have had the experience of asking her, like, please, can you send me more clients to help? I have these bills to pay, or I want to get my hair done next month. Can you please send me a client before my roots start showing? Thank you. I am a blonde, just not this blonde. Right? So it's like Archangel Ariel she'll work behind the scenes to help us. But one of the principles that she wants me to share right now, she's like, please, Julie, tell this, is that you have to balance your energy. She said a lot of people listening right now are too busy giving and they're not able to receive. So she says it's very important for you to hear this message right now, that as you let yourself receive more, you're actually be able to give more. So let yourself receive.
Julie, this has been so wonderful. Thank
I'm
you.
glad. Of course.
Before we close, is there anything else that you would like to share that I didn't ask, or a message? You gave us already so many gifts in our conversation.
I think one message I would share is call on the angels to help you with your friendships. Friendships and connecting with other people is so important right now as we heal from the pandemic. Because what we've learned from mainstream media is to be afraid and afraid of each other. Did you just cough? Oh my God, you have COVID. And so we've become like very afraid of each other. And the angels say we really need to heal that relationship, of course, being safe. So one of the things I want to leave you with right now is pay attention to this blue energy that's just coming through. This is a beautiful angel. It's the Archangel Raguel, the angel of friendship. And this angel's coming through and just kind of saying, like, grant your wish for friendships. Maybe you want a new friend. Maybe you've had to let go of a toxic friendship recently. Maybe you need a relationship healed right now. Maybe there's a rift or a conflict, and maybe it's with a sibling. But let's just extend that wish to the Archangel Raguel and just, thank you. And thank you for the friendships that I have. I'm so grateful. Please heal any misunderstandings. Please bring abundance of friends into my life so that they feel my love, I feel their love, and we're like helping each other to learn and grow in a very beautiful, harmonious way. And, we pray this in Jesus' name, amen. And then you just kind of like let it go. And you don't have to pray like me, you can be like in Elvis's name, amen. Whatever you believe is fine. The angels don't care. They want to help you, right? But if you pray to Elvis, I think you have bigger issues. But but it's just about keeping it light. Don't take yourself too seriously. That's what I'm trying to demo with my comedy and my humor today is this is not so serious. This is, you have the right to have a relationship with your angels. They love you. And sometimes we need lightheartedness to just heal. So ask and you shall receive.
Oh, Julie, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Right.